Hey everybody, it's Dan from The Clinical Trials Guru. Again, it's Dan from The Clinical Trials Guru. Keep your questions coming in and make sure you subscribe to my channel and the blog. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on the blog, subscribe. I give out free stuff all the time. Keep your questions coming. I'll keep you anonymous. Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Today's video is going to be in regards to recruitment and enrollment issues. Research site's opinion is different from the sponsor's opinion of whether a subject qualifies. And usually the research sites are pushing for their subjects to get randomized, even if they may not technically qualify under the protocol. The sponsor may actually not allow them to randomize the patient. And these days, most studies that I'm dealing with these days require some kind of a pre-randomization sheet to be sent to the sponsor for approval. This is especially done in the studies that the sponsors consider important, like some of their pivotal trials that they know are going to be heavily scrutinized by the FDA. They want to make sure that only the people that truly qualify actually get in. So usually sites and sponsors argue about who the sites think should get in, and the sponsors are trying to shut down from getting in, or trying to block. Shut down's a bad word, but trying to not allow certain patients to get in. But today's question comes from a viewer who is dealing with a sponsor that actually believes the subject qualifies for a study, but the site, they don't think the subject qualifies. In that case, I mean, here's the way I think of this, and ultimately the correct answer is it's up to the PI, ultimately. The practical answer is it's really up to the sponsor. It's really the sponsor's trial. They're paying you to do the study. They're paying for the data. They're paying the CRO. They're collecting the data. It's their study. We as the research clinics are merely helping them achieve their goal, which is to conduct the clinical trial for them. So unless it's an investigator-initiated trial where the PI is also the sponsor, which is not the case in most industry-sponsored trials. These are just traditional clinical trials where the sponsor pays and hires research clinics to conduct the studies. It really is up to the sponsor, and the sponsor is going to tell you it's up to the PI. So there's always going to be a little bit of a gray area, and that can allow for certain people to either get in the study or not get in the study, within that gray area. So in your case, where the sponsor thinks someone does qualify and your site thinks it doesn't, and you weren't specific whether it was the PI or whether it was just the staff or the site director who didn't think the subject qualifies, I mean, if the PI or the site director feels really strongly about that, then I don't think they should qualify, even if the sponsor says that they do, because ultimately the PI is held responsible if it were to come to an FDA audit. With that being said, if you can get written confirmation in an email from the sponsor stating that the subject actually does qualify, then from a business perspective, I would go ahead and randomize that person only with the proper documentation from the sponsor. Email is best, and email printout, just put it in the source the source file of the subject. Should you ever get audited by the FDA, and should the FDA ever bring up the issue of why was this person randomized when they're not supposed to be randomized, you'll have the paper trail from the sponsor stating that the subject does qualify to be randomized and to go ahead with the randomization. If you don't have a paper trail, if you just have a phone call, I would request the written confirmation from the sponsor. In other words, don't go with just a verbal if you feel that strongly about the fact that the patient doesn't qualify. But I do understand that this is a business, and sometimes we do need to randomize people, and if the sponsor is giving you the go-ahead, then I would go ahead and do it only with written confirmation. Hopefully this helps you out. Let me know if it doesn't. Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com, and thank you guys for submitting your questions and for watching. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.